Welcome back, guys. If you're new here, my name is Brianna. I am the founder and owner at Travel Dolce Travel Agency, and I totally appreciate your support. I love your support. If you would subscribe and ring that notification bell, it really helps me out. I post new videos every single Thursday at 10 a.m. Central. Today, we're going to talk about air travel tips. Do you fly often, or maybe just every once in a while? Either way, I've got your back. I'm sharing my very top air travel tips today. Be sure and stay tuned till the end for my number one tip. So here we go. My first tip is arrive at the airport early. I know this seems like common sense, as many of these tips may, but arriving early can prevent so many issues. You're less stressed. You don't have to worry about long security times. You have plenty of time to find your gate. You can actually take care of yourself by going to the restroom, getting a snack, filling up your water bottle, doing all of those things that you just kind of have to do. They're basic necessities, and if you have extra time to do them, it's going to be so much easier. Remember, planes don't wait. Next, have your bags labeled and tagged at home before you go to the airport. You don't want to be the person holding up the line just because you forgot to tag your bags at home. Anything you can do at home ahead of time, do it. Amazon has some really great silicone luggage tags. Buy these once and you'll be good to go always. Speaking of luggage, try not to buy black or dark blue luggage. I know that's what's readily available out there, and it's what I gravitate towards just because it's kind of that generic look. But you want to be able to easily identify your bag at baggage claim. So go ahead, if you do have black or dark blue luggage or something very generic, go ahead and put like a strap on, a luggage sleeve, a colorful ribbon, a very easily identifiable luggage tag, anything that's going to make it easy for you to get that bag at baggage claim. You don't want to end up with someone else's bag, and you certainly don't want them to have yours. My next tip is if you live in the same city as the airport you fly out of, consider taking a car service to the airport. It's very convenient because they can drop you off right at the terminal outside, whatever airline you're flying out of. It's just a lot less stressful than trying to find where you're supposed to park your car, getting parked, on the shuttle with your luggage, riding the shuttle all the way to the terminal, and then finally getting inside. I think being dropped off curbside is just the way to go. And it can be absolutely cheaper if you're going to be gone for several days. Airport parking is expensive because they know that if you're driving to the airport, you have to leave your car somewhere. So, it could be beneficial on the financial side as well. Furthermore, remember when you return from your flight, if you park at the airport, you're likely going to have to get back on the shuttle, ride the shuttle to your car, and then depending on the season or climate where you live, you could potentially have to scrape ice off your window to get the rest of the way home. With winter coming on here in the Midwest, I'm definitely thinking about that one. Taking a car service may just be the best bet. If you do decide to park at the airport, take a picture of where you parked so you can find your car when you get back. Next, if possible, check your bags at the curbside check-in. A lot of times the lines will be shorter here and longer inside. Not always, but most of the time that's true. Keep in mind also that there could be a charge for checking your bags at curbside, and tips are encouraged, but it's super convenient to get rid of that checked baggage as soon as possible. My next tip is bring an empty refillable water bottle with you to the airport and fill it once you've gotten through security. I shared this a few weeks ago as a Travel Tip Friday. If you saw that post on my social media, go ahead and hit the like button below. I'd love to know who I'm reaching with those Travel Tip Fridays. Bottled water at the airport is super expensive, And the water filling stations or hydration stations are popping up more and more in airports all over. End of last month when I traveled to Austin, I had no trouble at all finding hydration stations in any of the airports that I stopped at. So just keep in mind they're out there and super convenient if you don't want to pay for expensive bottled water. Also, flight attendants will likely fill those water bottles up for you if you ask. If not, or if you just want to be filled before you get on the plane, maybe stop at one of the coffee spots. I know most airports have them. Sometimes the lines are long, but if they're short, most like restaurants or coffee shops will fill those up for you too. Do yourself a favor and stay hydrated. Use the restroom outside of security. Of course, you can use it again once you get through security and are about to board. But the restrooms outside of security oftentimes have shorter lines and are much cleaner just because they don't get utilized as often. Now, unless you enjoy using the lavatory on the airplane, I do encourage you to go just before you board again, but at least it'll cut down at least one pit stop. While on the topic of security, do yourself a favor and be ready when you go through security. Have your license out when you need to have it and have a designated place to easily stash it securely, like a zipped pocket or something until you get all the way through security. Have your shoes off, your belt off, jacket off, get your electronics out. Just be ready and on the ball when going through security to help expedite getting yourself and everyone else through. Remember, when going through security, you should stay with your belongings until they're on the conveyor belt getting ready to go through the scanner. Then you should stay in place until the TSA agent motions or gestures for you to walk through the metal detector or scanner. They're big on people staying with their possessions because if it's unattended, technically it could be taken. So just remember to stay with your stuff until it is on that conveyor belt. And then once you're through security and you collect your belongings, go ahead and move away from the congestion to get put back together. Get all your belt, your shoes, everything else on, all your electronics put back into their places and everything like that. If you do it away from the congestion, it's going to be a much less stressful situation for you. Bonus tip for this, and another thing that I shared as a Travel Tip Friday, try and get behind businessmen when you're going through security because they've done it enough that they've got it down to a science, and try to avoid getting behind families or people with a lot of stuff or people that are trying to carry on their bag because obviously they're just going to take more time. Another bonus tip on this topic is if you go ahead and get TSA pre-check certified, you can skip those long security lines altogether and not have to take off your shoes, take out your electronics, take off your belt, and do all those things. I'm going to have a video coming up in a few weeks on how you can get TSA pre-check. So if you're excited for that, hit the like button below. Next, settle in at a nearby gate. Make sure you check the departures monitor to make sure that your gate hasn't changed. And then once you find your gate, make sure you note the boarding time that they have posted. Most generally, it's 30 minutes prior to departure, but you always want to double check that. And then if you leave the gate area, set an alarm on your phone just for boarding time or a few minutes before. If you're going out to get something to eat or shop or just walk around the airport to get some movement, it's really easy to lose track of time. It's kind of chaotic, especially when it hits that midday time and there's a lot of people at the airport. So you definitely don't want to miss your plane just because you were out doing something and losing track of time. So go ahead and set that alarm and you'll be happy you did. If you have a long layover, sometimes it's worth it to pay for the airport lounges. They often have complimentary food, beverages, Wi-Fi, newspapers, magazines, and sometimes even showers and a place to rest. So if you have a long layover, maybe consider it. Some credit cards even have a perk where you can get one airport lounge access for free per year. So maybe check your credit cards and see if you have that option. And if you don't want to pay for the airport lounge, maybe just sit just outside of them and use their Wi-Fi. Fox Nomad website lists all the usernames and passwords for airport lounges Wi-Fi, so check it out. On the other hand, if you have a short layover, let the gate attendant and flight attendant know, because sometimes they can move you to the front of the plane so you can get off quicker to make your connection. If your flight gets canceled, get in line with everyone else to talk to the agent, but while you do that, go ahead and call customer support for that airline. Oftentimes, they can get the issue resolved over the phone even before you get to the front of the line. A little bit of airplane knowledge for you. The front of the plane obviously is going to get you off the quickest. The middle of the plane is going to be the smoothest over the wings with the least turbulence. The back of the plane often gets the best service. And just remember, the window seats are probably going to be the coolest. So if you get cold easily and are sitting in a window seat, bring extra layers or a small blanket, or don't pick the window seat. Are these tips helpful for you guys? I hope so. If they are, or if you found some value in anything I've said, go ahead and drop your favorite emoji below in the comments. Remember to download ahead of time. So if you're bringing devices, go ahead and download those Netflix shows, podcasts, music, anything that you want to listen to or watch ahead of time while you're at home. Bring your own snacks or food. So the lines for a meal at the airport can oftentimes be long, especially if it's a high traffic time. So you're probably going to get price jabbed too if you're purchasing food or anything like that at an airport. So just bring a little something along to get you to your final destination and get a meal once you get there. Also, remember that you can request hot water on the plane. So things like hot tea, oatmeal, quick soup, things like that are all game. If you're making a long flight or you just have a long day of travel, including several flights, maybe pack a little care kit with a toothbrush, toothpaste, lotion, face wash, things like that, so you can freshen up at the airport. And you know, compression stockings are never a bad idea either. I know that sounds kind of a little bit old lady and very nursey. I'm an RN for those of you who don't know, so I'm always thinking about that. But it's super important. You don't want to end up with super massive swelling or a blood clot, you know, something like that, more serious. So go ahead and put on those compression stockings before you leave the house and stay hydrated. Next, dress in layers. You never know if it's going to be hot or cold, probably both at some point throughout your travels. And also, if you're headed to a different climate, you know, that can play a part in that too. So if it's super cold when you're leaving and then warm when you're landing, you can shed those layers, or vice versa, you can add the layers. Pack an eye mask and a neck pillow if you're planning to catch some Z's on the plane. If you have a late night flight or you just prefer to sleep, go ahead and pack those things. Also, a rolled towel or something to use as a lumbar support can be super helpful too. Catching a cold or getting sick after air travel is not an uncommon thing. So I like to bring along hand sanitizer and also some Clorox wipes to use on the armrests and the little fold down tray that they have there. So, you know, try not to touch your nose, mouth, eyes, any way that a bug could be introduced into your system. And remember that extra vitamins in emergency never hurt either. And my number one air travel tip is just to be calm and be kind. Everyone else is just as tired and stressed as you are. So just remember that kindness goes a long way. You're going to get so much further with airport and security personnel if you're just calm and kind and do what they ask you to do. If you're interested in learning more about Travel Dolce, head on over to our website, traveldolce.com. While you're there, you can sign up for our newsletter. We send out special travel information and tips as well as promotions just for our email list members. So be sure and sign up so you don't miss out. Do you have an air travel tip that I didn't share? Or which was your favorite that I shared today? Go ahead and drop it in the comments below. I love to hear from you. If you found this video valuable, you know the drill. Take a screenshot and share it out on your social media and tag Travel Dolce. I love to share your stories on my story. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss our video every single Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Time. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next week. Bye.